Choo-choo, everybody on the Dodge returning to NASCAR hype train because it sounds like a deal is very close to being done. And it's likely going to be done with one of the most legendary and perhaps in some ways infamous names in the sport, Tony Stewart. Now, it may also be because there's some bad blood brewing. Well, we're well aware of the bad blood brewing between Tony Stewart and Ford. And of course, it may have a little something to do with Tony's new NHRA connections. Let's talk about it all right now. And it's worth mentioning that in the last video, I mentioned that Roush may or may not be a possibility for Dodge. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. Not sure why I said it. I think I believed the internet hype that said, oh, Keselowski's buying into Roush. Of course, that means they'll go to Dodge. No way. That is not happening. The new Keselowski-Roush Racing or Roush-Fenway-Keselowski, whatever they want to call it now, revealed their car today and likely will stay with Ford for the foreseeable future. But let's talk about Dodge because that is the most pressing issue at the time. Now, I've got multiple sources that have told me that the deal is very close to being done. One source put it at 80%. The other said it was a matter of if and not when. Now, obviously, this would not be for the 2022 season. That is way too dang close for any manufacturer, much less Dodge, to join at this point. But depending on when the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, we could potentially see Dodge as early in the NASCAR Cup Series as 2023, but more likely 2024 and beyond. Now, as I understand it, Dodge is looking at entering all three National Touring Series of NASCAR. So it wouldn't just be a Cup program. You'd also see Xfinity, and you would also see trucks. Stewart-Haas Racing is almost certainly going to be the first team to switch to Dodge, if not the only team switching to Dodge in the first year. Though there are rumors that there may be a second team, and it may be one that's outside currently the realm of NASCAR. Tony Stewart has already announced a two-car NHRA team, and the drivers are Leah Pruitt and Matt Hagan. But as of recording, no manufacturer has been announced for this program. I've also learned that Tony Stewart's NHRA team will indeed be Mopar powered in 2022, though that is much more obvious than anything going on the Cup side of things because, of course, Hagan and Pruitt are Dodge factory drivers. Now, it's not unprecedented for Stewart-Haas Racing to switch up their manufacturer allegiance. Stewart-Haas Racing switched from Chevy to Ford in 2017, so if indeed this is true, and I have reason to believe that it is true, Stewart-Haas Racing moving manufacturers would not necessarily be a massive surprise, especially considering the strained relationship between Stewart and Ford Motor Company. That strained relationship mostly caused by Ford refusing Tony Stewart to sign Kyle Larson, who of course went on to win 10 races and the championship for Rick Hendrick rather than Tony Stewart this year. I would not be surprised whatsoever if when Stewart's NHRA program is finally announced, or at least the engine manufacturer that he will be aligned with is announced, we will also have a confirmation from Dodge themselves about their NASCAR interest. And of course, with the NHRA season rapidly approaching, as well as the NASCAR season, it's not long now. And like I said at the beginning, it's a matter of when and not if we hear a confirmation of this program and its existence. Of course, we've already heard it, not on the Dodge side, but on the NASCAR side, and that's what prompted 100,000 people to watch me sing Guess Who's Back, Mopar's Back, on YouTube. And counting, by the way. That video is still getting massive views per hour. Steve Phelps of NASCAR mentioned on SiriusXM's NASCAR Power Hour, or whatever you want to call it, that essentially saying, yeah, Dodge is interested, we're very close, but I can't confirm or deny everything. Since that video, and since all of that kind of made its way through the news cycle, the talk has been rapidly increasing. Now that this is out in the open, now that this is essentially an open secret, there is a ton of discussion that not only is this a legitimate rumor. Obviously, if the president of NASCAR is talking about it, you know it is a legitimate rumor. But the fact that this is very, very, very close to being done. And I mentioned in the previous video that Dodge coming into NASCAR would be absolutely massive for NASCAR. And while I guess Dodge is now a French manufacturer, was Italian, originally American, not so American anymore. But a lot of people in the United States have a great loyalty to Dodge. In particular, they have a great nostalgia for the Dodge brand in NASCAR. And if Dodge comes in kind of in the way that they did in 2001, it could be a big spark that helps light a fire under NASCAR and gets them kind of back in that really aggressive upward trajectory. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting about this is it could be, and unfortunately for a lot of us purists, could be one of the greatest vindications the 550 horsepower package has ever had. Because if Dodge comes in and, you know, despite their reputation for putting Hellcats and everything, if they say that they really were intrigued and excited by what's going, if they like what they're seeing with the 550 horsepower package, that would be an extreme vindication of that. Because a manufacturer doesn't just mean, you know, wow, we get an extra brand, we can sell some more t-shirts. That means extra money for teams, extra money for tracks, extra money for the television. It is massive when a manufacturer enters the sport. I also have some questions because we could see a total paradigm shift in American motorsports. What's to say NASCAR continues to have for manufacturers? Consider this for a second. What if Dodge comes in, and we already know that Toyota is very far down the road. In fact, ironically enough, they're about at the 80% likely to join IndyCar racing. Currently, IndyCar racing is a much cheaper alternative to NASCAR Cup Series racing, and Toyota is one of the few manufacturers in NASCAR that actually wanted higher horsepower. IndyCar will, at one point, you know, with push to pass and XYZ, we'll have upwards of 900 horsepower with the next regulations coming in. I'm going to throw this out there, and we'll see if it sticks. What if Toyota leaves NASCAR, joins IndyCar, and Dodge takes their place? Will we see 4 manufacturers in NASCAR? I would prefer that Toyota stays in NASCAR, believe it or not, and also comes over to IndyCar, because I think the rising tide would raise all boats, and having crossover appeal with those NASCAR drivers on the Toyota side of things, I think would be good for everybody involved. Also, the IndyCar guys, you know, that cross-pollination is good for the sport. Tony Stewart and Dodge. Again, I think our biggest clue to this whole thing should have been as soon as Tony Stewart announced that he was starting an NHRA team. He's dating a Dodge factory driver. In fact, he's engaged to a Dodge factory driver. And then he hired another Dodge factory driver and then didn't announce that he had a manufacturer. Well, Tony Stewart is currently under contract with Ford. I would not be surprised if we hear very shortly that any personal services contracts with Tony Stewart and Ford Motor Company are done, and that perhaps is what our holdup at the moment is as to why Tony Stewart and Dodge have not made their marriage official. Ironically, they may get married before Tony and Leah do. But I do think it's funny that I feel so stupid now, because it was like, wow, Tony's really simping for his fiance. He's gonna buy an entire NHRA team and run the whole thing. Of course, that wasn't what it was. It's Tony playing 4D chess. He's getting in the door with Dodge early, and if you don't think that the only thing that's going to be happening in the Stewart-Haas Racing Garage with Mopar is them going to be making NHRA engines, I got a bridge to sell you. This is a great way to get that partnership going, get those connections going early on, and then come in with a very strong factory program right off the bat at Daytona in 2023 or 2024, whenever this happens. It's an exciting time, I have to say. Anytime we talk about manufacturers, I mean, again, look at the views. People care about this. Clearly, the cars, believe it or not, still matter in racing. Those brands joining up and racing against each other is still one of the biggest draws in racing. So I think a lot of people want to see Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, and possibly as well, well, certainly as well, Toyota. I only said possibly because some NASCAR fans are not big fans of Toyota, believe it or not. But having a four-manufacturer NASCAR, I think that would be good for the sport. It'd be the first time we've seen that since 2012. You've probably seen clips throughout this video of the Dodge Gen 6 car testing, which, of course, never ended up racing. I sure hope this program gets off the ground and the matter of if and not when ends up being true. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I will say this, when we do get official confirmation from Dodge, you've seen the Kyle Larson intro, I think you're going to get a Dodge intro because I feel like we're going to be covering this throughout this offseason and beyond. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Subscribe for more motorsport content.